Hello guys, welcome to your next video. This one will specifically detail how the midterm is going to be graded. The midterm is going to be graded. It's your first major assignment that I will go over like an autopsy technician. I'm going to check every eyelid, every belly button. I'm going to poke everything to make sure I have everything I need to know about your growth as a writer. I guess autopsy was a weird word. I meant to say I'm going to be the judge. Throughout this quarter so far, I've been more like your lawyer, saying these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses, this is what as a writer you do well, this is how we can build your case, that you're growing as a writer, that you're learning as a writer. But when you hand in the midterm, I go from lawyer to judge. And it's the first time I'm really going to judge your work. So it's serious. So far in this class, you've written 2 essays, or you will have written 2 essays by the time the midterm is due. So you've written 2 textual analysis essays, Spider-Man and Marjan, Persepolis. Even though you've written both, only one has to go into your midterm portfolio. You have to write both analysis essays. That is key. Even though they're technically the same prompt, just using different texts, you have got to write both analysis essays. That said, only one goes into your midterm to be graded, actually graded. So, by the time you're writing your midterm essay, you will have written, SFD number 1, SFD number 2, the first instructor review draft of that essay, and then you can revise it again for your midterm. So you should at least be on the 4th draft of that essay. But if you chose to do a conference draft, you might already be on the 5th. So the theory here is you have committed to the process of writing this essay. And so by the time I put on my judge hat and I'm actually going to get really nitpicky and grade you, you should know exactly what's expected of you. You have seen rubrics filled out. You know what I think of your focus. You know what I think of your organization, your development support, and your ethos. And you've had all the world opportunity in the world to have a conversation with me about your midterm grade. Or about your essays before that translates into a midterm grade. Again, here's the rubric. Make sure you are familiar with this rubric. It has all the focus, organization, development support, and ethos, the global issues of writing. You'll notice that in each vertical column, there is a grade expectation. And some of these expectations are big. Like the first one is 4.0 to 3.5. That's A's. The next one is 3.5 to 2.75, which is like A to kind of like B minus E. And then 2.75 to 2 is like B minus E to like strong C, C middle. And then 2.0 to 1.5 is like C middle to, bad. Passing D, but not great. So anyway, be very familiar with this. On all your essays, I kind of will straddle these with highlighting or circle them intently. If I circle, with my highlighter, 3.5 to 2.75, and that, it's like solidly in the middle there, so it's probably a 3.0, 3.25. But if I have it like going between the best 2 squares, 4.0 to 3.5, 3.75 to 2.75, that means you're like right in the middle, so it's probably a 3.5. You're right on the line. If I have the main one circled, but I have an arrow kicking back, that means it's on the low end of that square, so 3.5. I just wanted you guys to make sure you know exactly what's expected of you and how it's going to be graded. I'm going to get a grade for focus, a grade for organization, a grade for development support, a grade for ethos, average it out. So, if you have, like a 4.0, a 3.0, a 3.0, and a 2.0, averages out to a 3.0. And up until the midterm, I've kind of been even more harsh on the grading than I will be on the midterm. It's kind of like if you're preparing for the Olympics, you're going to train at altitude so you get in better shape. So it's harder to breathe and there's less oxygen coming into your blood. But then when you actually go to the Olympics and you're running at sea level, you're twice as fast. You can really knock it out. Know that I have been more strict on the first artifacts and essays because I want you to know that I have really worked hard, that I've graded you harder than I actually will on the midterm. I've wanted to kind of get your attention, to wake you up, so that you see, oh my gosh, he's really circling lower on the rubric, then I feel comfortable with that grade, so that you will have worked harder for the midterm. Please know that. But still, don't be lazy come midterm time. These are only going to be graded according to the global issues of writing: focus, organization, development, support, and ethos. That's why those things are so important. They're A, not just what all writers worry about, but they're B, how I assess you in this class. So make sure you're familiar with that. Make sure you know every word of that rubric, and you know exactly what is required to get me to circle all of the best bubbles, the ones on the left-hand side. That is what you want. There's also this timed reflection essay. So you've seen a preview of the prompt. That is not the complete prompt of that essay. I didn't want to give you the full prompt because I want it to be timed. I want you to write it during the specific amount of time that I allot you. It shows another way for me to assess your writing skills. Under pressure, how do you think of focus, organization, development, support, and ethos? Do you remember topic sentences? Do you remember how to build arguments logically? Stuff like that. But I would be a hypocrite if I just said, oh, you have X amount of time, go write this essay, bam. Because that completely neglects what I've said since the syllabus, that writing is a process that takes time to reflect, time to revise, time to think. So I don't want to be a hypocrite. So I gave you this preview of the reflection essay prompt so that you could start to get familiar with what's expected of you. You can start to idea generate now. This intro prompt is half of the prompt. The thesis that I give you, my growth as a writer can be compared to blank because blank. That's going to be the thesis of your midterm reflection essay. But I'm going to add density and more wrinkles in the actual prompt that you will write under the gun. But for now, you can look at that and you can start idea generating, start to pick a metaphor, and we will definitely talk about this more and we'll work on that more. And that, in that reflection essay, is your opportunity to make a case, to show me as your teacher that you have grown as a writer, that you understand focus, that you understand organization, that you understand development, support, and ethos. And not only will I see it in your essay that you choose to submit, but I will see it reflected in this reflection essay. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions or comments on how the midterm is going to be graded, ask me, talk to me. Okay, great.